All right, everybody. Welcome, Bindi. Hello, Bindi. Good to see you. Good to see Latasha, Angel, Jeff, Jordan, Aaron, James, Adriana, Latasha. I said it with a little accent. You like that, Adriana? You like that? That way I guarantee to not like I'll get it right 100%. So Alima, Moise, Sabrina, Nelson, Hector, long time, brother. Rahelio, I don't know if you can hear me yet. Rahelio, Suzette, Roger, Joel, Alexander, Jonas, Maricel, Sue, Nikki. I love it. Christian, Christine, Bernice, everybody, welcome. Jerry. If I didn't say your name, I apologize. You can you raise your hand. You get to be the first with questions. So what we're doing today, today is about everything and nothing all combined. And so what I will say is that has anybody, how many people are really active in real estate by show of hands? Right? Who wants to become more active in real estate by show of hands? Who wants more money, right? Right? So that's the right room. We're in the right room. What's up, Tim Lowe? Good to see you. I want to just say that this is basically me just basically kind of re-announcing that no big announcement other than I want to just really get the community back together. I want to give, I want to add value, I want to collaborate, I want to squad up. And I just, bottom line is, if you got an invite and you're here today, it's because I miss you guys. So straight up, I miss you guys. So that's what's up. And what I will say is that nothing to sell, nothing to promote, no events. Doesn't mean that there won't be in the future, whatever. You know, if I see something good, you guys know, like I promote a lot of stuff like Michael Zuber. If I see something good, I promote it, but that's not what this is about. This is about, I just want to be connected and collaborate with like-minded people that are really in it to win it. One thing that I'll share with you guys is a lot of you know, some of you don't know, I'm super active in a lot of real estate investing communities. I personally pulled back from the Evo community very on purpose. Couple things, just want to reshift, re-engage for my business, my day-to-day business, but also too, and just in terms of reallocating my time. So for me, I had an amazing summer. I hope you did too. I got to spend a lot of time with my kids and really just, you know, really cool stuff. But what I want to share is that more than anything, I was able to really deep dive back into my business. I was able to deep dive back into my business. And so with that, you know, also too, this is interesting because, and I'm going to monologue a little bit and then we'll get into Q&A, but I want to just share kind of the purpose of today's call, the September kickoff, right? So one of the things in deep diving, a part of it is, you know, I've done everything from grind mode to I'm going to just sit back and manifest business, right? I'm just going to, and let the business just come to me in avalanches of abundance, right? So, you know, I did a lot of experiments, right? Like I would call them experimental, and then combinations of everything in between, right? So, but I really looked back this summer. Part of this summer journey was me reflecting. And by the way, if you're not actively engaged with me, I would appreciate if you mute, only because sometimes if you have your speakers on, it gets a little bit of a, we get a little echoey and whatever. It sounds weird, but I definitely want you guys unmute, engage, raise your hands. I want to, this is all about you, by the way, the call. I want to connect with you guys and see where you're at, what you're up to, how I can help you, how we can all help each other. That's what's up today. So, but one of the things too is that I'm also this, you know, it's hard to believe it's September 1st. It's like, this is my 30th year basically of, you know, I bought my first deal in 1993, right? I became a licensed agent in 1994, became a licensed broker in 94. And so, you know, for me, you know, part of this thing is that, has anybody besides me noticed that the market's changed just a little bit in 2023? Right? And that one of the things that, like, you know, if you look at like 2019, 17, 18, 19, if you were in the business. 2020, we got hit with COVID. Oh my God, everything shifted. And then it was like, oh my God, I had no idea. Like all of a sudden it got really, like what was really good got amazing and great. And even in some ways got a little easy. Who was doing business in 2018, 19, 20 back then, back in the old days? The old days, right? So if you notice, like, right, from like 19 to 20, you know, you're like, oh shit, COVID, what's going to happen? And all of a sudden it just got even better, right? You thought like the market was going to fall off the face of the earth. You thought the market was going to crash during COVID, and it actually got better, right? How is that? You know, how is that? Like, right? And so now, guess what? We're in another shift. So we're in another shift. And if you haven't noticed, right, has anybody been a little challenged by the lack of inventory or the ability to just, there's less sellers? Has anybody noticed that besides me? Okay. And then also too, if you're buying yourself, if you're buying as a buy and hold investor, if you're buying creatively, sub to seller financing, all the above, if you're buying on market, off market, direct to seller, direct to agent, or if you're an agent, realtor, broker representing clients, have you noticed on the buy side, it's more competitive? Has anybody else noticed that? Thank you, Larkin, for verbally engaging.
Hi, can you repeat the question? Because it was a little muted when she was speaking. Have we noticed what now?
Have you noticed that if you're representing on the buy side, whether you're representing yourself, direct to seller, or even if you're representing clients, investors, whatever, have you noticed that it's much more competitive? Okay, right. It's one of the craziest markets I've been in. And in 30 years, I've seen a lot of recessions. We obviously are not in a recession, or at least not yet. Is it going to come next year? But I've got to say, this is one of the wildest, weirdest, unusual marketplaces. But I can tell you that there are patterns, and there are predictable patterns. And I'm happy to talk about that. I got the great fortune. I get to spend a lot of time with Michael Zuber. How many of you guys watch Friday Financial Wrap Up, Michael Zuber, or Daily Financial News with Michael Zuber? If you're not, you need to follow Michael at onerentalataTime.com, or One Rental at a Time on YouTube. He does his daily shows, Daily Financial News. And I'll tell you, that's been my saving grace. In fact, even right now, I'm underwriting a deal and it's a little tight. Literally real time. And I'll share this with you. And then I'm going to open it up for dialogue, because really, I'm just waiting for the room to kind of fill up a little bit, honestly. Even in real time, I'm looking at this deal and it's a little bit tight. It's got a nice roof, probably a 2 or 3 year old roof. It's a 1950s house. It's got not new windows, but it's got vinyl windows. It doesn't have the old windows, but it's got the old kitchens and bathrooms. It's a 3-2. It's about 1,200 square feet. And I think the thing will move quick. And in fact, I think I could even buy it, just paint and carpet, and even just keep the existing kitchen. Not that I would do that, but I'm even like, there's a lot of different ways to kind of get there. And I'm like, you know, how do I skin this cat? But then the big thing was, let's see. So by the way, if you're just popping on, thank you for being here. Please, if you can mute yourself as you're coming on, we definitely want to dialogue with you. But one of the things, so literally, I'm going to text Michael Zuber right now and just say, hey, what are your thoughts on interest rates? Do you think that now that the Fed is clearly winning, that was kind of the new update this week? Did anybody see Michael this week or see our Friday Financial News? The Fed is winning. So what does that mean that the Fed is winning? It means that hopefully we are, in fact, at the peak interest rates. Now, a lot could happen. All kinds of, who knows, another war, something going on in China and Asia, in Eastern Europe, whatever, right? We still have the war going on. There's lots of little black swan events and things that can happen. But ultimately, for me, even on this, even I'm a student of Michael Zuber. Like, what is the economy? What do you kind of foresee? We know for sure, talking with Michael as much as I have over the last 2 years, this market is not going to go back to quote unquote normal. or what you thought was normal over the last 3 to 5 years. Because the last 3 years was abnormal. And if you look at the last 5 years, we're not going back to that for a long time. Some people, Goldman Sachs, they just published something. They think it's maybe 2 years, 2 or 3 years, 2025, 2027. Michael said 10 years on today's show, on today's Friday Financial News. He doesn't think it goes back to quote unquote normal. So let's talk about real quick, what does that mean? And then we're going to unpack, and we're going to open it up. Michael, if you guys track national sales, because I know we got people from all over the country. We're predominantly West Coast here, but there are other people from other parts of the country. National sales have peaked and have been basically were trending over 6 million sales. And I believe the top was 6.6 or 6.7, if I'm not mistaken, for national sales. And I believe that was last year. Excuse me, no, 2021. Excuse me. Last year, we were just somewhere, I believe, somewhere in about 4.5 million sales. And again, this isn't about that part. This year, Michael thinks we're just going to be over about 4 million sales nationwide. So what does that mean to you? Every market across the U.S. in terms of inventory and deals, whether you're fix and flip, buy and hold, creative, doesn't really matter, or just not just an agent, a broker, a realtor representing clients. That basically means that every market across the U.S. is typically down at a minimum 20, 25, 30%. And then even some markets are down transactions 30 to 40%. Okay. 30 to 40%. So what does that mean? We don't need 1.6 million realtors. However, what we do need is probably, I don't know how many, we probably need a couple 100,000 realtors who know what they're doing, who are transaction engineers, who are creative, meaning that, they know some about subject to seller financing, creative in their marketing, creative in their approach to go out and connect with, more people to help. So basically, I've kind of set the stage. That's what I want to talk about. But really, I really want to hear from you guys. So now I'm going to just open it up. I want to dialogue with you. I'm going to go to Angel. And by the way, you guys have the reaction tab. And I know it's a little tricky on your iPhone or your Droid phone if you're in the car. But you do have the reaction tab. So you can raise your hand. You don't absolutely have to raise your hand. But ideally, if you raise your hand, I'll kind of go to those first. And then I'll just say anyone else, and you can unmute yourself and shout it out if you're not able to raise your hand. So let's go to Angel. What's up, brother?
What's happening, Ty? Thank you for taking my call, man. Appreciate you sending this invite to all of us, man. We miss you, and glad we can connect with you. And so here's my question for you. You know what? Have you refinanced out on any of your assets and stuff that you're holding and say, hey, listen, you know what? This is performing this way. That's performing that way. So have you done any type of financing in today's climate that has helped you say, hey, you know what? I wasn't using that before, but I'm using this now, like a DSCR loan or some sort of financing. I heard Michael Zuper got somebody on the show that was offering something like at a very low interest rate. I can't remember the gentleman's name. And so I was wondering if you've been doing anything with creative financing to help out your position.
I personally have not been refinancing anything in this environment, and I haven't refinanced anything in a long time. I think you could potentially, when private money, you could potentially do kind of almost like a private money equity line, put a line, a deed of trust against a piece of property that you own behind, in a second position, but with a private, friends, family, private money lenders, just so that you have access to capital. I'm not opposed to refinancing, even with these rates. By the way, these rates are, what are the rates today, Jordan? Do you know? What's the 30-year? Because I don't want to misquote myself.
The 30-year last time I looked was like 7.08 for the national average.
Okay.
National average.
And that's better, right? They peaked out about a week, 10 days ago. What were they a week, 10 days ago?
Yeah, it was about 7.35, 7.47-ish.
Yeah, so just under 7.5, right? And which is kind of a wild ride, right? So 7.5, I'm going to just round up, right? So Hector put 7.49. I saw 7.37. I won't get into fractals, but ultimately just a hair under 7.5. And then now we're probably closer to about 7. And that's really my question to Michael about that tight flip that I mentioned, that deal that I was going to reach out to him. Does he see it now becoming more stable and trending down? I believe the answer is yes. So I think that rates potentially trend down, not rapidly, not like 7.5 to +7 today, but I think gradually by the end of the year, could we see 6.75? I hope so. By next spring, could we see 6.5, 6.25? I hope so. Next summer, could we see 6? 5.87, something like that. I kind of think that's going to be the trend based on what I've learned from Michael, but I'm going to get his 2 cents on it. And the reason why I'm asking him specifically is that if it's a tight flip, I just don't want to, I don't want to do a tight flip if for some reason it's like, well, I have no idea, I don't want to be at 7.75, right? Come October when I'm actually trying to exit this deal, or November when I'm exiting this deal. That's you got to guard for the downside. If you have a big margin, you can do that. Now, back to your question, Angel, which I love, by the way. If getting the cash out of the equity or some equity out of the deal allows you to be more mobile, more agile to do more deals, more agile to just, kind of reinvest, whether that's into your business, into yourself, into, just more deals, then I would say yes, as long as you're not strapping yourself to a time bomb, meaning that there's not some tight timeline. If it's a 5-year window, I would think, yes, you're going to have an opportunity to refinance out of that DSCR loan. If it's a 5-year fix and then it goes adjustable after, I think there's enough time. I would not do something short fuse myself. I wouldn't do anything that's, 12, 18, 24 month term. I would have at least probably 5-year term, 4-year term, something like that. But ultimately, if you can still cash flow, even with the refinance at a higher rate at an 8%, whatever the investor non-owner occupied rate is, or if you're, if it cash flows with a teaser arm, as long as you're not strapping yourself to a time bomb. Does that make sense?
Absolutely. And that was my question. I'm about to exit. And so I was looking at a DSCR loan. So I wanted to hear your input, and you just answered it right there. Maybe something a little more secure long-term to make sure that, it makes sense 3, 5, 7 years from now.
I love it. I love it. I think too, one thing for sure, just for everybody, I think that if you can pull cash from deals, I think better deals are coming. So like, even if you look at like a deal, if you look at a deal that you did last year, or like, as an example, I'm looking at a deal. If I look at a deal, like a handful of deals from like 2021, they've gone up in value. They've had some equity gain. Cash flows are okay. Cash flows are good, not great. And I look at that, I go, okay, can I maybe pull equity, maybe sell a few of those, even paying the capital gain? Again, potentially you could I pull some of that cash and be more liquid going into this next season? So that's something to consider too. I think, just generally speaking, I think the deals that come up, I think we're going into a time where we are, in fact, what we expected to happen, a little bit of fallout. I think that fallout's going to happen. It's not going to be massive, but I think it's going to happen over the next 6, 7, 8 months. A shift, a softening, if you will. So I love it. More questions, more engagement. You can unmute yourself and just shout it out, or you can raise your hand. Steph.
What do you mean by softening up? You mean in terms of buyer demand, or are you talking about maybe like the backlog of listings that are coming to market? What do you mean by market softening up?
I love that. Such a good question, Hector. Softening, meaning that right now the market is so tight. When I say softening, is that I think days on market increase. So as an example, I have a friend who has a buy box. He's looking for I'll call it a $1.1 million to $1.5 million home in the Bay Area. Okay. He's looking for a 1.1 to a $1.5 million home in the Bay Area. And the market, everything in that price range in that area, it gets on the market, and it's like 7 to 10 days, it's gone. And it's multiple offers. And it's, if the house is, worthy, right? And even if the house is kind of junky, it's still selling in 7 or 10 days. I think now for that buy box, because again, that's just in that market where he's at, it's at the median, slightly above the median. I think all of a sudden now I'm seeing those things that are, 25 days on the market, 30 days on the market. I just put a deal into escrow for a client, helping a client, $1 million property. It was on the market for 90 days. A little bit of I wouldn't say weird property, unique property, country, kind of rural. You can have horses and stuff, but it's right on the city. It, like, you would think it was city limits, right? So kind of country, whatever. That probably didn't happen in the spring this year. Definitely last year, that house would have been gone in, 2 or 3 weeks. And the house isn't bad. It's not a fixer. But here's the thing I would say softening. Think about the houses. And again, everybody knows this house that I'm going to describe. 3-bedroom, 2-bath, 1,200 square feet. It's got maybe not the original 1950s or 1960s kitchen, but it's got like a 1980s oak kitchen in it. It was remodeled one time, 30, 40 years, 35 years ago. It's got Corian countertops, right? It's got oak wood floors, or like, whatever. It's got all the doors and all the chandelier, or not chandeliers, but all the light fixtures are all gold. They're not real gold, but they're gold plated. They look like brass or gold. But the house is clean. It's got windows. It's got vinyl windows, but they're windows from like 25 years ago. They're like first edition vinyl windows when vinyl windows became a new hip thing. And it's got a good roof on it. Landscaping's okay. Right? So on a scale from 1 to 10, that house that's like I'm going to be generous and call it a 7, a 7.5. It probably will pass clear termite with $3,000 to $5,000 of a little bit of this, a little bit of dry rot and eaves and rafters, whatever, but not bad. Like, and the people live there for 30 or 40 or 50 years, right? That house pretty much over the last, even today, probably still multi-offers and sells like just in a heartbeat, right? Like, and it has over this last cycle. I believe over the next 6-7 months, that house could sit there and maybe even get a 3 to 5% price drop, after 2 or 3 weeks. And then another 3% price drop after another, say 6, 7, 8 weeks of being on the market. Because why? Because the house is just what I would describe as mediocre. Does that make sense, Hector? Cool. Is this vibing for a lot of you? I can see a lot of cameras off. I appreciate, if you're eating lunch or whatever, I get it. But also too, I want to, I hope that this is helpful. So cool. Let's go to Steph.
What's up, sir? First of all, your social media game has been on fire.
Thank
Loving
you.
what you're putting out there, brother.
Thank
And
you.
you said you're deep diving into your business. For me, I just had kind of a failed partnership, having to reboot. I lost about 100K in the last year, and I got about 20, 30,000 sitting on it. For you, like getting deep diving, going in back into the fundamentals, what does that look like for you and your business?
It's so good. I think for sure, if you're not on the phones, you're not in the business. And that's just a core belief. And it's not me just being a hardcore, old school, grizzled sales veteran. Some of it is, but it's really not. It's just, yeah, right. Stefan laughs. The speed bump. I've got literally like a permanent speed bump from a headset, from wearing a headset, most of my adult life. But I really do believe that you really do need to be on the phones. I mean, and again, I don't care what your strategy is. If you're a sub 2, I'm going to collaborate with people in the community, and you're in Facebook and you're messaging and you're, you know, like just kind of scanning all the different Facebook groups for, you know, somebody just posted they got a fixer upper in Oakland, California, or somebody just posted a, you know, even if you're doing that kind of stuff, you know, even if you're doing kind of like the online stuff or even online marketing, you still ultimately still need to pick up the phone and talk to people. I believe, and that, and, or if you're not, if you pick up the phone, it'll literally double or triple whatever you're doing results you're getting now. So I believe everybody needs to be on the phone. And if you're already on the phone, get on the phone a little more. Now let's talk about also, who here's on Mojo Dialer, by the way, just by thumbs up or, okay. Did anybody else besides me? I hope it wasn't just my account, but they had technical issues over the last couple of weeks. Did anybody else notice that? You couldn't, like, the platform and engineering. Who, by the way, does any kind of text messaging? Okay. Massive pushback from the carriers. And I'll tell you, and I don't blame the carriers. I literally 90% of all the, on my business lines that are published, 90% of all the calls I get are spam calls. And it's so wild that of those calls, 80% of those calls are from your Google listing cannot be found. You need to call us back and verify. Is anybody getting the Google verification, which is not Google? It's like, but I don't even know. Like I get probably 6 of those a day, 8 of those a day. Now I've got an old school, I got a phone system where I still kept all my, I got like 15 numbers in a, you know, in a Ring Central, you know, voice over IP, but so I get all those calls. They're hitting all those old phone numbers that were published, you know, from all the years of being in business, and I'm getting spammed to death. So the carriers are pushing back. So what I would say is this: I got rid of a predictive dialer. I was using call tools, just couldn't use it anymore because it just wouldn't, they were getting blocked or I don't know what, but we just weren't getting connections. We went back to Mojo, and then even Mojo's having problems. So guess what I'm going to do? If I have to, I'll literally just click and dial, right? Just call one, click and dial. If I have to go to my mobile phone, if I have to, I'll say to my assistant, hey, put all of these in a spreadsheet so that all I can do, you know, so I can just click. If I have to do that, if I have to go back that far. But my point being is that we should all be on the phone. Everybody should be on the phone. And if you're already on the phone, you should be on the phone a little more. Now, I also think too, if you're just living on the phone, it's not going to be enough today. I think you got to get out there and network. I think you got to get out there and meet people. I'm closing a deal now, networking. Somebody that knows somebody, hey, I can help you with that. Here, boom. You know, actually 2 or 3 deals this, right, you know, in this last kind of 10-day period, from networking, from just checking in with people, you know, collaborating, or just, hey, this guy, he's in that area, right? So I think networking is a big deal. So we could call that networking / centers of influence, friends and family, whatever. But I think being connected to your community more than ever is a really big deal. It's going to help you a lot. But I think you got to TTP.
Hey, Ty, I want to comment to that real quick.
Please.
I work with Angel. Blessed to work with Angel, man. He's a treasure trove, man. Anyways, literally yesterday we're at a property that we both just met the contact yesterday, and here we are, opportunity to purchase this flip, and we're both like, we just met this guy. Where'd you meet him? Through Instagram. Angel, hands down, is one of the best networkers I've ever seen. And what I've come to realize is a lot of his business comes from fellow agents. A huge part of it is not coveting and keeping information to himself, but just being open to other agents, sharing information, being just available to everybody. And I've seen his business grow tenfold because of it.
Big time. I love that. So I think too, just kind of like if you're deep diving back into your business, I think you've got to have multiple things you're doing. So kind of answering the question, and then I want to interact more. I realize I get on these monologues. It's been so long since I've been with you guys. I just get on these monologues. So, anyway, I think you got to have, at least 3 or 4 different things going. So it's like, yeah, you're calling people. You're in the Facebook groups. You're, in the Facebook groups when you're meeting somebody or somebody has a deal. And even though it's sold or an agent, the smartest thing that anybody's ever done, if I've had a fixer upper on MLS and they call me and it's like, oh, I'm sorry, dude, it just went pending. Sorry, man. I can't. The best thing they could do is, hey, well, let's stay in touch. Let's whatever. And then they call me and text me they don't pester the hell out of me, but they call and, hey, you got any new deals, every 2 or 3 weeks or 4 weeks or whatever, but they're just kind of there and available. Or even maybe, hey, we're doing a meetup. You should come. By the way, we are doing a meetup for those of you in Northern California, September the 9th at Scipollini's Pizza, 12 p.m. A group, bunch of people from Sub 2, and then just a bunch of, people that I've invited. We're going to do a meetup September the 9th, Saturday afternoon from 12 to 3 o'clock, Scipollini's Pizza. All of you are invited. So you can message me or somebody will put it in the chat, Joel. Thank you, Joel. So more questions, more dialogue.
Hi.
Yo.
Hey, great to see you.
What's up,
So
man?
you mentioned also on there, need a couple of 1,000 agents that know what they're doing. And so I think that falls under education and also implementation and all that. And see if you might just touch on that a little bit more.
Yeah, I just think that, I think we get comfortable and I think it's the human nature is that, it's easy to just get comfortable and I'll speak more to you, like, cause you and a handful of guys we know, like just to call expireds for sell by owners and just to cold call for 5 or 6 hours a day and not really spend any money, like, or not even necessarily spend money, but just like not venture out and do new things. Like, okay, I'm going to have my assistant log in as me on Facebook and, take, every single person, all of my friends and just message them. Hey, what's up? How you doing? What's going on with you? And then maybe they take not everybody at once, right? But maybe you do 10 a day, right? Send out 10 DMs a day, or depending on how big your network is, right? Even for you, you go onto your, like structured. Now, I'm not saying don't fall down the rabbit hole of screen suck, right? Where you're just on the screen. Next thing you know, an hour's gone by and but point being is that you could literally, this is a timer, right? So I could set a timer for 15 minutes, get on Instagram, and I could just be sending anybody that's kind of everybody in my world's kind of real estate related. So they're either wholesalers, agents, or, or friends that are civilians. But point being is I could go through and just be messaging people. Hey, any new deals we can collaborate on? How you doing? How you been? What's up? Whatever. But what if I did just, again, I would set a timer. I'd set the timer, but I'd send out, maybe, I don't know, 10 or 15 DMs every day, 10 DMs on Instagram, 10 DMs on, Facebook or LinkedIn or whatever. But like, as well as I'm doing my calling, you follow me? That's just, again, just kind of a thought there, but I think you've got to be adapting. And so half of you, or I'd say not half, probably a third of you, I know through Sub 2 and you know about, or creative financing, right? There's another third of you that are realtors that know that you've been around me for a while. So, you're familiar with Sub 2, creative seller financing, all of that. But even then, do you know about novations? Not many people do. I know I haven't spent a lot of time teaching novations. Has anybody here besides me done a novation? Just anyone? Okay. So like novation. So as an example, and I bring that up again, I talked about that tight deal, right? I'm like, okay, am I going to do the deal? Am I going to buy it? I think I'm going to call the seller this afternoon and pitch a novation, right? So that would be, and by the way, what is a novation? A novation is where I basically contract with the seller. I guarantee them a set price. Here, I'll give you your $500,000, but instead of closing escrow immediately, when the tenant moves out, give me 30 days to do renovation and then another 75 days to market it, sell it, close escrow. I'll guarantee you the 500 and I'll buy it as is. So you don't have to do anything to it. I'm going to put in 50, 80, $100,000, whatever I'm going to do the renovations. And then basically what I'll do is I will make my money off the margin, but I'll guarantee you your price. Because normally if I had to give you a cash deal, I probably need to be somewhere closer to about 445, 439, somewhere in that range. Okay. Maybe 450 if I'm on my tiptoes, but I can give you more money if you're willing to wait a little bit. You know, can you give me 75 to 90 days to get your money out? I'll get it done by the end of the year. Will that work for you? That's a novation. So see how, why? Because I don't have to pay closing costs. I don't have to take title. I have minimal holding costs. And really all I'm paying for is the construction. Okay. That's a novation deal, right? Pretty simple, right? So it allows me, I'll make a little less money, but I have less risk. So just an idea. So I think being able, back to Aaron's question, being able to adapt more tools in the toolbox, more skill sets. That's what's up. More skill sets. Let me go to Ali and then I'm going to go to Hector.
What's up, Ty?
Brother?
You know, during these times, these interesting times we're going through, you hear a lot of people kind of scaling back, cutting down on expenses, certain things of that sort. We've also heard of, hey, this is a time for us to double down on certain things, right? Whether it's cold calling, texting, whatever it is. Where's that thin line between double downing and then cutting back? Because for me, I'm in a place where I'm thinking about maybe hiring another 2 VA callers. I have one at the moment, plus Jose, who's consistently calling as well, along with myself. Like, where would you double down right now?
So good. Let's talk about, let's unpack that a little more. Because here's what I will say. A lot of by the way, let me ask you this. This is and you can vote with your thumbs, right? You'll vote with your thumbs, yes or no. So if the real estate industry as a whole, whether it be realtors, loan officers, wholesalers, fix and flippers, if the industry is basically if it's compressed and there's 40% less transactions, are the real estate coaches, businesses, generally speaking, because I have some friends that are booming, but generally speaking, do you think that the real estate coaches, are their businesses booming or are their businesses declining right now? Okay. All right, good. So everybody gets it. Okay. So when you get, and I'm not knocking, I love anybody who's willing to share their knowledge, sell their knowledge, all good. That's part of my journey too, how I got here. But anybody who keeps telling you, you got to invest in yourself, you got to reinvest, and they keep beating that drum, a lot of it is to manipulate the mindset so that they can sell you more shit, and I don't mean shit as in shit, but whatever, to upscale, sell you more coaching or more magic pills or more magic formulas or more whatever. So I'm just saying, beware. Stand guard at your mind. Right? Like, so just be careful of that. And by the way, you hear me, I said it probably 2 or 3 times today. I got nothing to sell, but yes, you do have to reinvest in your business. Yes, you do have to reinvest into yourself. Now, let me unpack it a little bit more. God, I miss you guys. Can you tell?
Yes.
I am monologuing like a mofo. All right. So, but this is important. So I believe it's important. And by the way, the things I share with you, try them on like clothes. If they fit, great, keep it. It's yours for free. If you don't like it, no problem. Like, you know, a lot of different ways to do it. So
Hi.
I love it. What's up, Kenny? Thanks for being here, brother. I love it. So one of the things that I'll just share about that is that if you have momentum, and this is the big decision maker. If you have momentum in your business. So what is momentum, Ali? How would you describe momentum? And I'm going to call on a couple people, so be ready. You know who you are.
I would say momentum is you got transactions going, you got deals coming in, you got deals closing.
Correct.
Lead
How
flow.
else? Say it again.
Lead flow.
Lead flow, deal flow, cash flow.
Yeah.
Okay. How would you describe it, Aaron?
Yeah, the phone's ringing. You're focused on the phone. You're driven. You're in alignment. All that stuff's just popping.
It's popping, right, Hector?
Yeah.
I would say just, leads are coming in, calls, you're connecting with your folks. There's a good vibe going. You're adding value. You've got deals coming in. You've got, come listen to me calls. You've got those relationships with, like, for example, for me, with attorneys that are dialing in and, hey, I've got a new deal for you. That's being in flow for me.
That's the flow. Yeah. So the big mo and the flow go together, right? It all kind of rhymes. Mo, flow, and go, right? So this wasn't rehearsed, by the way. So momentum, big mo, that's how you make the decision. If you got the momentum, meaning also another MO word, money, honey, money. Are you making money? Are you making money? Meaning that not only are you paying your bills, not only are you, but you're rolling. It doesn't mean you're like stacking tons of cash, but I'm saying you've got momentum. It's like you got a pipeline of deals. You're making money. You're closing deals. You're closing 2 or 3, and, it all kind of, you're rolling, right? You got momentum. If you have momentum, yes, you double down. But here's the thing. You double down on the things that work. Okay. You don't just start exploring. Like, you can explore, but you can explore in a small way, meaning okay, as an example, one of my explorations in the last couple of years, I talked to 2 or 3 pay-per-click companies, and then I did pay-per-click for 4 months. Okay. Now, it was like flushing money down the toilet. Okay. And I learned. Okay. And I also learned a lot about, they don't really and I'm not knocking the guys that did it, the guys that I bought the package from and whatever, but it's just like, they were making their money no matter what. You follow me? It didn't matter whether we were successful or not, right? So it didn't matter. They were making money. No big deal. But I didn't take enough time to actually learn more I should have learned more about it on my own. I probably should have spent 10 or 15 hours on YouTube, talking to people, literally in the trenches, learning a little bit about it, 10 hours, 15 hours, and then go and interview and hire and know a little bit. You follow me on the exploration? But my point being is, as an example, I do know that, as an example in my business, calling probates, that works. That's worked. It works and it works and it works. Okay, great. How could I double down on that? Well, maybe I'm going to hire a VA, somebody to cold call. Maybe I'm going to hire 2. Okay. Maybe I'm going to do a direct mail campaign to complement the cold calling or the direct to seller calling that I'm doing already. Maybe I'm going to expand with the attorneys. Maybe I develop a whole campaign that's just specifically attorney focused. Okay. That would be a smart, quote unquote, double down reinvestment of deploying. Okay. Also, something we talked about, text messaging. Who here is on either launch control or REI reply or something like it? Okay. So the compliance, the deliverability, again, constantly changing, constantly changing. I noticed a drop in productivity. Not that it's not working, but it diminished a little bit. I'm not buying the bigger package. I'm in the middle package. I'm still going to keep it, but I'm going to go to the smaller package. Why? Because I want to be smart with my money. Also, one of the things, I got really lean, right? I got really lean with, in terms of expense, and I'm still not as lean as I want to be because I still got holes. I still got holes in my game. I still got holes in my money. You know what I mean? Like, I'm still buying stuff and paying for stuff that I'm like, why am I still using this software or using this subscription base or this lead? Like, why am I, for me, this is for me, why am I subscribing to expireds and I haven't gotten a deal from an expired in 18 months? Why would I keep paying, even though it's only $100 a month or $99 a month? Why? But that's $1,200. I could be using that toward direct mail for probates. Or you see the thinking there, Ali? But one thing is that it's very common for the gurus and the nurus. You guys know what the nurus are? The new gurus. It's very common for the gurus to say, hey, you got to spend money. You got to reinvest in yourself. And by the way, they're right. But just know that also part of it is kind of like a setup, right? And I'm not knocking it, by the way, because even today, by the way, I was on a thing. A guy presented to me a $25,000 package that I literally sat through about a 75-minute demo, and it was some stuff for online leads. And it was a $25,000 package. And I'm like, I'm not sure. I know, okay, I've only done 2 or 3 hours of research. I probably need to do another 10 hours and really go deep and say, okay, is this really something that I want to do? I hope this is helping. More questions? Hector, you had your hand raised, and then other people that have, please raise your hand if you can on the reactions tab. I love that you guys are here. 56 people.
So real quick,
go for it.
Thank you, Ty. So real quick, I wanted to make a comment on, you started a small conversation regarding, Messenger and texting and things of that nature. I've gotten away from automation altogether in terms of hiring a VA or having someone log on. I'm doing more what you suggested is I'm spending about 20 minutes every day, just making some comments, not only on what people are posting, because I think one of the things that we forget as agents is that we think of social media as a quick find a lead, find a deal. And social is about being social, right? It's about posting a little bit about your life, posting about your activities, but more importantly, your friends and family, if you have people posting on Facebook and Instagram, what they really want is engagement. They don't just really want a like or a thumbs up. So what I've been doing now is just commenting about 20 minutes. I'll scroll down my feed, make a comment, make a like, comment on an actual post, and then right away click the message and then just, hey man, it looks like you guys had a good time at XYZ. Hey man, how was dinner with you and your family? Like a little bit more than just, hey, looks like you had a good time. And then you message them and then they engage with you. And all you're really creating is a little bit of top of mind at zero expense, and you're connecting socially, right? They're already gonna know that you're in the business. Like you and I, Ty, we're about the same time in the business. I've been in the business 31 years, since 1990. 92, I want to say. I was a mortgage banker for 8 years. So I got a ton of people, right? And the truth is that we always thinking about like value, add value, add value. Sometimes that's like brain numbing. Like, how do I add value when I've been in the business so long? People don't really care about that. They do business with us. Why? Because they know us, they like us, and they trust us, right?
Yep, 100%.
So if they're already our friends, we don't need to gain them over. We just need to stay connected. So I've been doing that for the last 2-3 weeks, getting a ton of engagement, getting some people raising their hands. Hey, you know what? I'm thinking about an investment property or et cetera. So staying more social and not so automated.
So spot on.
Yeah. And then I got away from a lot of like the KCM automation. I got away from a lot of like the listings to leads automation, a lot of those auto posts and this and that, because initially we thought, hey, you know what? It's going to post something. I don't have to do it. But it's so static that nobody even looks at it because it's not social, right? The other thing I wanted to make a comment on is, man, I applaud you with regards to getting thin, getting lean, right? I think there's so many coaches out there, so many like gurus, all that good stuff, that everyone's out for our dollars when it comes to marketing. And the reason why is because they know that we have a struggle with implementing ourselves, taking action on some systems, some things that we should be doing ourselves. Why? Because everybody's preaching leverage. If leverage what you're not good at. Yeah, I get that, but also be mindful. Okay, what should you leverage, right? So I know a lot of times people are saying right now, like Ali said that he was thinking about getting another VA, and I was on a podcast with I forget the gentleman's name yesterday, but he mentioned something really cool, which he said, look, if you're going to get a VA to make the calls for either like your expires or failed sale by owners, or even in your database, your VA should not be making calls like trying to close them on an appointment. That conversation is simple. It's just, hey, how's it going? I'm calling on behalf of Hector Aguilar. Just reaching out to you, see how things are coming along. By the way, do you have any plans on doing XYZ? Hey, you were on the market earlier last year. If we brought the right offer, would you be interested in a conversation? Like the idea is having them set up the table so that you're making actually calls to qualified people that are interested, right?
Yep.
That's the true power of leverage. You don't want your VA to be trying to convert them to an appointment because they don't have that skill set or the experience. You and I do as real estate agents, as professionals, right? So I'm just talking about in terms of regular, transactions as regular realtor, because I'm not so privy on when it comes to, subject twos and novation and this. I'm still learning. But again, getting lean, I was getting back to getting lean, is like, don't be afraid to cut stuff off. Like before you know it, like you're, $49 a month, $97 a month, $99 a month. Before you know it, you're out like $1,000 a month. That's $12K a year when you could be doing the same thing for like $200-300 a month. You know what I mean? I'm not saying cut out all of your automation, all your tools, but let's figure out, what do I need? What's going to move the needle forward? And how do I get lean? Because the truth is that we're not all closing what we were closing last year. I'm probably down about 60% of what I did last year. And I had a really good year last year. But hey, I'm still looking at the positive. I've got transactions in the pipeline. I've got some momentum. I got some relationships with some attorneys. I'm kind of trying to focus on blue ocean strategies and not going after the same for sale by owner, expires, things of that nature, right? Like you said, probate, divorce. Those are the things I'm kind of focusing on so I can get those opportunities. But thanks for at least opening the conversation of getting lean. I think too many of us are too focused on having all the tools that we need and not really doing our own labor-intensive work of picking up the phone, right? Chris Smith says, hey, technology and online leads, it's only an opportunity to make a phone call and connect with someone. We still got to do it. So thanks for bringing that up.
No, I love it, man. I love it. Really well said. And I love too, I want to just comment too and compliment Hector. Hector and I have known each other for a long, long time. And one of the things is that, Hector, like he just did a podcast with Tristan. I didn't get a chance to see it yet. I am going to look for the replay over the weekend, but like he did a podcast over this last week. And so just looking for opportunities to add more value for people. That's a big deal. Also too, and I want to compliment Hector. Hector, there was a time when REO was taking off. Of course, it shifted really quick, but Hector had an opportunity with a guy, a kind of a really very wealthy guy down in San Diego, Del Mar. And he was like, hey, Ty, I want you to come meet this guy. Let's figure out how we can make some money together. Nothing came of it. But my point being is that you want to be somebody that demonstrates and is out there, somebody of high value and somebody who shares that value and adds value for others. That's really what's up. So thank you, Hector, for being here. I want to keep going. I do have something for you guys that I want to give you guys here at the end. This is, by the way, September kickoff. Let me just kind of monologue a little bit more and then we'll more Q&A. The whole point of September kickoff is that I'm going to be scheduling reoccurring calls now. So they'll ideally be weekly. We might even do 1 or 2 a week, depending on the week and how my schedule flows. But the idea is that I want to do, 3 to 5 calls a month. And again, free. The only thing I would ask is that if you know other realtors, real estate professionals that can benefit, that are cool, people that are cool, people that add value, then I would say invite them. That's all. But I do have a gift for you guys. And again, this is the beginning. I'm basically, so a lot of you guys know you came to like Squad Up. And that was like probably 3 or 4 years ago. And that was a free reoccurring weekly. And we get guests and we'd interview people like Michael Zuber, and it was all free. And guess what? That's what I'm basically bringing up. I don't have a quote unquote name for it or whatever. And it doesn't really matter because it's not about that. But again, that's the essence of this is I just want to get the right people in the room and, you know, share ideas and be of value. And how can we help each other? More questions, more, you know, just anything, questions, thoughts, more stuff. How can I be of help for you?
Hey,
Hi,
Ty.
Ty. Oh, go ahead. Go ahead.
Yeah, I was just wondering since we're on that topic of possibly cutting down a little bit and, you know, trimming the fat. When it comes to tools, what are like the essentials right now that you believe are necessary versus what's, you know, maybe you need it, maybe you don't?
The essentials. I love it. You got to have a roof over your head. You got to have shelter. You got to have food in the pantry and the refrigerator. Got to have gas in the car. You got to have shoes on your feet that you can go out and door knock. You know, a cell phone, a smartphone, you know, even an old school phone. But no, I really think, I don't think there's quote unquote essentials. Cause I know young, no, I say young guys. So my friend, Alex Lear, a lot of you, some of you know Alex and Denise Lear, my brother, you know, his kids make hundreds of thousands of dollars and they door knock, you know, and it's not fancy. They go out and they door knock on, I don't know how many doors, but I'll make up a number. They door knock on 150 doors. They talk to 30 to 50 people every day, and, you know, Monday through Friday, Monday through Thursday, Monday through, you know, whatever, Monday through Saturday. They do a couple open houses here and there. They do other stuff too. I don't want to downplay, you know, and make it sound so simple, but you guys get the idea that there's no thrills, and they, you know, I don't know, $300,000-$400,000 a year, but they're consistent. So, you know, I mean, I think if you're if you're an active prospector, you know, or not an active prospector, I think for sure, you know, you just got to be talking to people. I think for sure, definitely talking to people. If, you know, Mojo Dialer, if you're calling probates, you know, stuff like that, I think that's good. High equity, you know, free and clear property, stuff like that, I think is also good in this market. You know, we can talk about list stuff, you know, in another time, but, you know, that could even be a theme, but that's basically it. I was being a little smart, but also sincere. I think the key is that to keep it simple, you know, and yeah, Mojo Dialer. I've got a text platform. I've got a, you know, 2 or 3 subscriptions that I subscribe to data for, probate data, you know, things like that. But I think really simple. And there might be a few of you, by the way, I'm not opposed to scaling. I'm not opposed to, you know, spending $100,000 a month in marketing or having a big team of 10 people or 5 people or 8 people. But if you're not really moving the needle now by yourself, having 3 people or 2 or 3 people, a team, isn't going to get you there. It's just going to create more frustration for you. So I hope that helps. Cool. Right on, JP. Good to see you, man. I know you and Hector are doing great things, man. I love it. Latasha.
Hi, Ty.
How are you?
I'm good.
Yeah.
So I have a question just regarding systems. So I've been in Sub 2 since just last year, but I've been a real estate agent since 2016. And so I'm kind of with my business, because it has slowed down. I made a lot of sales at the beginning of the year, and now it's like it's come to a complete halt. Like this summer, it's just weird for me. So I joined Sub 2 to kind of like, you know, like, well, investors are still out there, you know, rolling and, you know, so, but now I'm trying to get my groove, because I think because I'm such an I have an analytical personality. And so when I find a deal, or I'm like looking for my list online, so I go through and I'm looking for like absentee owners that have low equity. And so when I go through that list, I'm like looking at how much they owe on their mortgage before I even call them. And I don't know. I'm like, I think I'm doing too much on the upfront part. And then I call them and find out, oh, we already have an offer and, or whatever the case may be. So what kind of system, my question is, what kind of system should I have just so I'm making the calls consistently and I'm not getting stopped and bogged down by all the work, the busy work? I think that's what's keeping me from making more calls in a day, because I'm like, oh, well, let me see if this is even a deal before I go and reach out to the agent and, waste both of our time.
Yeah. So one thing I would say that probably the system you need is so simple, but it's just a schedule. It's a commitment. It's a mental commitment to a schedule. Number one. Number two is that, it could be in this, and I'm not joking about this. I haven't bought one yet, but it could be a system and a tool. Those things where you lock up your phone. You ever hear, like, it's a timer? You set a timer and you can lock your phone in. It's a little capsule for people that are addicted to social media. They can put their,
yeah, I've heard about that. Yeah.
you put it in there and then you set it. Okay. And like, it's 7:30 in the morning and you program it to where now you can't access it till, or there's even software you can put on your computer. I'm not suggesting this, but if you're deeply, deeply in the weeds and that you get sidetracked, but what I would say is a schedule. Block out as simple as from 8 a.m. or 8:30 or even 9 a.m., say from 9 to 11 or 9 to 10:30 or from 9 to 12, I'm going to do all outbound calls, right? I'm going to do outbound calls. I'm going to be calling the agents. I'm going to be texting agents on, hey, would your seller consider, whatever, like, but it's more about outbound. It's about doing the work and pushing out, right? Like getting out the message. It's doing, sending those 10 DMs here and 10 DMs there and hitting all your past clients or whatever, like, but it's about getting the work done in the morning. So, and the reason I say that is this, I know for a fact, if I don't work out in the morning, I'm almost never, ever going to work out. Okay. Also, and not like, I'm not trying to promote myself here, but if I don't do my cold plunge in the morning, if I don't do it in the morning, it's not getting done. Because what happens is all of a sudden you get going in the day and all of a sudden it's like, I'm too busy and you are busy, but it's just like, so the idea is that whatever's kind of challenging or critical or tough, same thing. If I was writing a book, and I heard this from authors, if they write a book, first thing they do is they get up, cup of coffee, jump on and start writing. And they set a timer. And they start writing their book for, whatever, 90 minutes, 2 hours every morning. They get up at 5 a.m. and they start writing, and then they can do whatever else is supposed to get done for the day. So in realtors, for real estate entrepreneurs, for us, that would be just like, okay, 9 a.m. from 9 to 11, from 9 to 10, I'm going to make calls. And I'm not going to be looking at my email. I'm not going to be doing anything else but making calls. Does that help, Latasha?
It does help. So, and then my thing is that, I don't want to waste, I feel like I'm wasting the agent's time if I don't know if it's going to be a deal. Should I just not even think about that? Like, if that property or if that agent's phone number is on my list, I just call them?
I think you hit them up. I think a couple things. So I think you still hit them up, but I think that, like, let's be smart about it. So, like, as an example, do you have a set save search that is like anything that's been on the market more than 30 days?
Yeah, I have it like set for, anything over 90 days.
Okay. So there you go. Anything over 90 days. That's a perfect candidate. Another great search term, anything with the word fixer, anything with the word tenant, if it has the word tenants in it. So if it has the words tenant and maybe it's been on the market for 30 days, maybe that's something that I'm going to, hey, would your seller consider, you know what I mean? So that could be one search in itself. Right. And by the way, full disclosure, I have these searches set up. I'm not working them because I'm already busy working other parts of my sales funnel, right? So this is something I could delegate, hire somebody just to work. You follow me? But even I'm not doing this, even though I already built out, I got wildly inspired, and I was like, oh, I'm going to set up all these filters, and I have them all and they're all going, but I don't even look at them because I'm working on other deal flow. And not like I'm so busy or whatever, but I'm just saying, like, if you're going to do it, work it.
Okay.
That's all. So, but you can play with those. You could also, a good search term, probate. In the private remarks, probate. Estate. Although that one's weird because real estate, that might, but trust.
Trust, yeah.
Attorney, the word attorney, because sometimes it'll have like comments like subject to bankruptcy attorney approval, blah, 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 stuff like that. So.
Okay. Thank you so much.
All right. I think I've got a few more minutes and I'm going to stay on, but I got to, how many of you guys would pay for coaching with me, by the way, or buy something from me? Okay. All right. So, all right. For those people, I have a free gift. And this is super cool I think it's super cool. I hope you guys think it's super cool. I literally just finished this last night. Let me know if you can see this. Thumbs up if you can see it. Can you see it? What do you see, Angel?
Creative financing for realtors.
That's right.
Let's go.
It's the course. It's
Sign
here,
me up.
guys.
Sign me up.
And so let me just show it to you guys. Do you like the icon?
Yeah,
it's a lion. It's a lion riding a unicorn lion. So, AI was involved on this. Anyway, very random, but, riding down through the neighborhood. So, it is my pleasure to share with you guys. This was something I was working on. Some of you know, because you're like, hey, can I get those recordings? Well, what's super dope is I finally organized them. And again, this is all themed in realtors. But if you see, I've got basically, it's about, 6-8 hours of content. And it's creative financing for realtors. There's an intro video. Each video, what's dope is like, we talk about like on this one, the realtor filter, mindset, adapting in a shifting market, be your best client. What does that mean? Be your best client. It means that, all the great deals, you should be buying those, right? What are the best lists? What are the best niches? So if we look at class number 2, what to say to sellers, how to present subject to seller financing, hybrid, sub 2 with seller carry wraparounds, all-inclusive deed of trust, novations. We touch all these topics. And then also in terms of contract, I did a contract class documenting, document contracts for sub 2 seller financing, how to write the contract, the addendum, the acknowledgement, the authorizations, objection handlers, avoiding legal headaches, understand the laws when buying or selling, Civil Code 1695 when you're buying pre-foreclosures, and then also how to stop a foreclosure auction. Class 4, be a transaction engineer, the mindset for wealth, safeguard your deals. We do a lot of Q&A here. And then also too, this is a big one. I want all of you, for my licensed agents and realtors, I want you to be proud when you're talking to a seller, even though it may be coming through a wholesale channel or whatever. I want you to be proud that you're an agent. And here's why, is because Hector said something earlier about trust. He said something about, credibility, trust. They got to like you, know you, trust you. But even if they don't know you, the fact that, they're in this shark tank with all these sharks and guppies, a lot of guppies in that shark tank too, by the way, a lot of guppies, but they're in this shark tank with all these sharks trying to buy their deal. And the fact that you're licensed, and by the way, for my non-licensed people, not a knock on you, because if you're here, you're ethical, you're high road, you're a go-giver. You wouldn't be on this Zoom with me. If you're, obviously a lot of people here are a part of Pace Morby's community, that you wouldn't be in that community and be here with us if you weren't a go-giver and somebody of high value. So just know that this isn't a knock on non-licensed people, but for my licensed people, a lot of times we shy away from the fact that we're licensed and disclosing that to a direct to seller, especially if it comes through a wholesale channel, whatnot. So what I want to share with you guys is that we want to be proud about that. We absolutely want to be proud. So let me continue to share with you. So hopefully you can see the screen. So again, being proud about it, being a realtor and agent, you know, and really, you know, the benefits and acknowledging that, you know, also in terms of agency disclosure and what if something goes wrong. And then of course I do a conclusion video and all of that. And so, what do you think what do you think the price is on this? Anybody want to guess? What would the price be, Angel? Is the price right?
The price is always right. The value is what you make it.
Value is what you make it. What's the value here? I don't know.
Today's price is not yesterday's price.
I would say you tell us what it is, Ty.
Here's what it is.
I'll pay it.
Can you see my screen?
No. Does that say free?
It's free, baby.
No.
It's my free.
No.
It's free. It's free 99. So wow. It is free. I don't know. Let's see. I'm gonna give you guys the link in the Zoom. This is something that's been setting on this is my love offering to you guys. And literally legit, like I am most proud of this, that even, you know, my wife and I showed it to her when I was done, and we both got teary-eyed, and that you know, I've started a lot of things like this, or started like courses or whatever, and you know, and then I just wouldn't finish them, or they would be kind of half-baked, and then so rather than actually sell the course or give away the course or do the course or finish the course, what I would do is I would just kind of like, oh, I'll just turn it into a keynote, and I'll just use that for when I go present at Tom Ferry or when Evo or this or that, or right, like whatever. So I am super proud to give this to you as my love offering to all of you for being a part of this community. And I would just want to say that, you know, even all the slides, all the images, I created all of this stuff. I didn't know how to, I'm not like a tech guy. It took me a while to figure out how to put it on. But anyway, I'm just like, I really hope that this brings value. And what I would say is this is really just the beginning, and that this is just the beginning. And so in the chat, you will see all you got to do. And I made it so simple for you guys. All you got to do is simply, hold on, let me get off the screen share. So all you got to do, and I'll continue with Q&A for another 10, 15 minutes, but all you got to do is you just text the word sign up, sign space up, or sign up all together. They'll both work. So just literally text that and you guys will get the free course, my gift to you. So it's, you know, and again, there were a handful of people. I did a class that was focused on Fresno, California realtors, because working with Michael Zuber to build the hub. And I was like, why don't I just do a record Zoom and blah, 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 blah. And I recorded all of them, but then we lost the cloud. We lost the recordings. And then we were figuring out, okay, where do we host it? And we were trying to put it on this and that and whatever. And so anyway, we finally got it up. Let's go to Q&A. Questions, thoughts about anything as we wrap up. Damn, speechless. I hope it was good.
I was gonna say, sorry, I didn't
like
understand. Where do we sign up again?
Go for it, Angel.
Where do we type sign up?
Hey,
so
Ty.
if you go, yeah, I kind of went fast. Sorry, my bad. I'll do it again. So in the chat
box, I think you put a phone number and you got to text sign up. One phrase, right?
Yeah. So what you'll do, the same way that you signed up to be on this call, you'll text. Thank you for asking that, because that was not a good explanation of where to sign up. You'll text the word sign up, or the phrase sign up, to 949-401-7598. Actually, I have a slide for that too. So hold on here. Let's do that. It's in the chat.
Got it.
But basically, you'll just text the word sign up. You can either do it as a phrase. I did it both ways. So you'll just text the word sign up to the 949 number. And it's in the chat, 949-401-7598. And then you'll get a link back. And then you just go in, put your email address, and boom, you've got the free access. Also, too, I almost forgot. One of the dopest things, I put it on Kajabi. Does anybody know Kajabi, by the way? What Kajabi?
Mm-hmm.
So,
Yes.
there's a lot of other stuff out there. There's Teachable and High Level and ClickFunnels. There's so many different places we could have put it. The reason why I put it on Kajabi is because Kajabi actually has an app for the iPhone as well as an app for Android. So you can download the app, and the same way you listen to Spotify, the same way you listen to YouTube when you're in the car, the same way, or when you're walking, you're exercising, whatever, net time, no extra time. The reason why I picked Kajabi was because that way you can download the app, and then also you can listen to it faster. You can do the playbacks at, 1.5, 2 times speed. If it's slow or whatever, you can skip around, whatever. But Kajabi has an app. So, and that's actually the introduction video. It explains that. So all you got to do is just text the word sign up or the phrase sign up to the 949-401-7598. You'll get a link, click on that, put in your email address, and boom, let's get the party started. Also, that'll also ensure that you guys, I know a few of you might be guests. It'll ensure that you get the invites to, right? So we'll do a meeting next week, right? You'll get an invitation to that. You'll get a text message. You'll get invites to all the stuff we're doing. But my thing is that, I just want to be a part of awesome communities. And I am a part of many awesome communities. I want to put my arms around this. I think there's a lot of confusion. There are a lot of realtors that just are so attached to the old way of doing business that they're struggling with the new way. And I want to make that accessible. And that's what my commitment is. And that's what my commitment was 20 years ago when, Tom Ferry and I did my first seminar with Tom Ferry. Tom Ferry actually promoted my first event, my first live event, a 2-day event that I hosted. And it was through Tom. And JP, he probably remembers that. Hector might remember that. But, I'm super proud to bring this to you guys. I want to bring massive value. And like I said, the course is free. If you have realtors, friends, please have them sign up by going to the 949 number, not just sharing the access. And the reason why is only that way they get the invites. So that's all. That's just so we get the invites. Plus, I know who's coming and going. That way, in case any bad people try to slip through the filter, I can kick them out. Go for it, Angel.
Ty, in this group, would you be doing a business plan Q4, kind of get ready for the end of the year run? I remember, it's funny, when you sent this out, I was worried. I was like, man, shit, I don't have all my numbers. I hope he doesn't ask, about where you're at year to date and what's it looking like when you project. And I'm like, shit, dude. So now I'm like, you know what? Know thyself, right? Where are my holes? Where am I missing? You know what? If you can have before end of the year, let's go over, that'd be great, my man.
Yeah, 100%. 100%. We are going to do a business planning. I'll do, a deep dive. I'll probably invite a guest to come on and kind of share some wisdom and knowledge. But 100%, we are definitely going to do business planning. In fact, even today, what I would suggest is everybody today, kind of the homework, if you will, obviously sign up for the course, download the Kajabi, make sure that you're on the 949, that you're on the invite list. By the way, do I ever send out emails outside of sending out invitations to Zooms or meetups? Never. Do I ever spam you guys begging for deals or trying to sell you, this new software? Not that if I do see something that adds value, I will. But my point being is I don't do that. That's not what this is about. It's about community. It's me being able to scale my reach to be able to be connected with all of you. That's all this is about. And by the way, I've closed so many great deals, JVing with people and whatever. So I just know there's going to be a lot of abundance that comes from this group. But what I will share is that, yes, the homework get really clear on what your goals are for September. And I'm going to end with this, is that September is the jumpstart. And we're lucky in Northern California. It's cloudy and it was cold this morning when we woke up, and weird because it was freaking summer yesterday, and summer hot as hell all summer, all week. And like all of a sudden it feels like today I thought it was going to rain and it was cold. I got a hoodie on, right? Didn't even turn on my AC yet until just now. So point being is that, why did I mention that? This is the time to put your head down and do the work. Get after it. This time is right now. This month, what you do now, September, October, November, that's going to determine your holiday season. Are you going to show up to the holiday parties? Are you going to show up to your family's Christmas, Hanukkah, whatever you celebrate? Like, are you going to show up proud, feeling good, with money in the bank, and, living a good life? Are you going to be fucking stressed and frustrated, right? Trying to figure out if you're going to survive and, I don't know, should I pay my MLS dues, right? Should I pay my MLS dues? Shit, I don't even know, man. Or damn, I don't know, should I cancel my credit card? And that way all those subscriptions to all that shit falls off and just get a new, by the way, I know the program. Trust me, I'm a master of the program. So point being is that this is the time we need to put our head down. And so that starts with this. It starts with a vision. And it doesn't have to be grandiose. That's kind of a big word, right? What do you want in September? If you've never done a deal, if you're looking for your first deal, if you're looking for your next deal, it could be just doing one deal. Could be one deal this month. Let me find one deal that I can close. For some of you, I know you can probably get at least, I think for most of you, almost all of you, 5 deals. I like that. 3 to 5, 2 to 3, right? I know there's a lot of you that can go out there and make shit happen. You're just literally, you just got to get off your ass and wiggle your pinky and talk and make a few phone calls. Literally, most of you have more talent and skills in your pinky than most people do in this entire industry. Most of you have more personal power. And I mean personal power that you wouldn't be on this call with me, especially at 1:25, right? On a Friday, on a holiday weekend, right? You wouldn't be if you didn't have that fire to go out and make shit happen. So this is the month, okay? The year starts now. And by the way, here's what happens with momentum. Big Mo, right? Momentum, Mo money, right? All of it. We want it all. So here's the thing, Mo and flow. What happens is you've got to create that energy, that activity to get yourself into action, massive action. And what's going to happen is all of a sudden, for some of you, it'll be 2 to 3 days. Some of you, it'll be 2 to 3 weeks. But what will happen is all of a sudden, it's going to shift and you're going to be like, shit, I'm on the other side. And now it feels good and it's not as hard. And you've got these good habits and you're flowing in the activity. And then what happens? The results come. The results come. You feel good about yourself. You feel good about the action, but you're taking the actions, whatever that is. Messaging, networking, reaching out to friends and family, making, cold call, warm call, lead follow-up, whatever that is. Momentum. That's what we want to create. That's what we want to start in September. So real simple, the homework. Decide, what are you going to do? But even more important, what are you going to create? What do you want to, in terms of business, have happen in September? 1 deal, 2 deals? Maybe it's 1 deal close, but 2 more in the pipeline for October, something like that. For a lot of you, 3 to 5 minimum. For some of my hitters, people that have been around, that have been kind of in this world with me for a while, or that have been coached by me, my hitters, I want literally 3 to 5. And then even some of you, if you already got the momentum, it's more. Okay. By the way, do not get distracted by the program, the free gift that I gave you. You should be listening to that. You notice I said in the car, in the morning, when you're exercising, on your drive to the gym, driving to appointments, maybe at night when everybody goes to bed, you pull it up. Maybe in the afternoon, if you don't have appointments, after you've already made your calls, that's when you should dig into that program. Okay. You need to work harder in your business and in the action. But yes, we need to be investing in our mindset. We need to be investing into our tools, our skills, our capabilities, all of it. So with that said, have a great day, guys. I'm so excited. Watch, I'll send out an invite. I'm thinking you guys can, by the way, if you're trying to communicate with me, send deals, whatever, I don't look at that 949. That's not, the 949 number is not my iPhone. The 949 number is a software that's on my computer that, or, you know, a subscription thing that I use. I look at it once or twice a week. If you have communication for me, email me, ty@tylg.com, ty@tylg.com. Email me. Also, if you have an opinion about, you'd rather see calls at noon on Tuesday or noon on Thursdays, whatever, or 1 o'clock on, 12 or 1 is kind of what I'm thinking. But if you have an opinion or suggestion on that, I'm thinking Tuesday or Thursday, or Tuesday and Thursday, depending on how many calls we do that week. But that's what I want to do, is have reoccurring stuff, reoccurring meetings with you guys. So if you have an opinion, let me know. If you don't worry about it. It's all good. I purposely did not do Wednesday because a friend of mine has a program on Wednesdays. I didn't want to, I want to support people that are also in that, I'm not trying to, this isn't anything other than trying to support our community. So you guys are great. Thank you so much for all the love. Have a great weekend. I'll see you guys. Talk to you next week. Thanks so much.